one really lost the ban phase here. Like, these are both maps that both these teams could easily go to. We see Team 1 with the first ban here. I'm going to say Lion again, just because it would make sense. And yeah, we're going to see Lion. And I feel like the Immortals bans, I could tell in my sleep by now. It's going to be the Blitz and the Clash.
Yep, Lion, Blitz, Clash, Maestro. But yeah, I feel like I'm gonna go with those. What should be different now?
We honestly didn't really see too much like impressive Echo play coming out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
last time. So maybe they'll choose this time to go with the Echo ban, but I definitely feel like it's going to be between the Echo and the Maisha. I can't see Mirror getting banned out here since Team 1 do start out on the defense.
And there goes Clash. The Blitz is off. The Clash is off. Lion is off too. One more ban before we go into Bank.
And we're going to see what that is. I feel like it's going to be the Echo here, honestly, from Team 1. And there we go. It is indeed going to be the Echo. So there you see that our bans for today. There's going to be Lion, Blitz, Clash, and Echo. We're going to get into map number 2 of Bank here. Remember, Team 1 did take the first map 7-5 on Oregon. If they take this map, they do take the series 2-0, and they knock Immortals out.
Straight off, which is obviously, you know, we've seen these guys kind of play before in this tournament, and it was a 2-map victory to Team 1, but it was on Consulate in Oregon, 2-6 and 3-6. But at the same time, I don't think I've seen these guys play each other on Bank, and you never really know how a map will play into a team's favor.
That is true, and already we're seeing some very interesting stuff coming out here. Not only Immortals looking like they're going to go for an alley access clear, but it's going to be Teller's office to start with, and we're seeing the Blackbeard for the first time this series.
Yeah, Blackbeard's picked up no Glaz, obviously, for this push. They do have Valk, assume we'll see a lot of information gathering from her, and Castle of Panico. So where they're going to be putting those castles, whether they want to lock control upstairs in CEO, again, keeping control of vertical, which between these two teams, especially with how Immortals are utilizing it, is going to be, I would say, quite important to this hold.
What I'm really surprised by is the fact that Panico picked up the castle, and no one picked Sophia.
Yeah, they're going to have to use those ash charges, or, well, it's going to be maybe the most effective we've seen castles so far, just in terms of slowing down. The original OG definition of castle, to slow down, to funnel, and to filter your attackers into places that you want them to go. Normally stopped by a Sledge or a Buck or a Zafir, just burning through them.
There's also no Hibana and no Twitch, and I think this mirror window that GDN is putting down right now in open offices is going to be really hard to deal with, because, you know, they just don't really have anything to deal with it.
Ion just aiming at Hugsword there. Maybe a warning, but we start to see Hugsword trashing computers. Maybe Ion just did not like the computer destruction, but you can see they are starting to open up that vertical Novice. It's going to drone out a little bit with one just to make sure that lobby and main lobby is open. They are still setting up their defenses inside. Ion playing elevators. Again, they've tried to castle off, lock them off, and keep them away from that back connecting corridor.
We'll see how it does go down. As we see, Nitro should start to come out as soon as any push comes out, because of course we have iBlacks and Hugsword, who both have Nitros playing that open office area, but Immortals going for that top floor roam clear to start with, which is probably a pretty good shout from them, considering like all the things I just said about their lack of a setup means that they're not really going to have too much to deal with that open offices area.
Yeah, currently they have generally been funneled what looks like exactly where Team 1 wants them to play. They are going to push from the lobby side, which is obviously the rest is all castled off, and Ion is holding the side ready for a potential rotate. Diogo firing inside. Whether it be a good idea to get Diogo above with the shotgun. Obviously, you can play that Jackal in quite a few places. It looks like 2 or 3 of them currently set up and open.
Yeah, they're going to pop the mirror and beat iBlacks. He plays the reverse angle there. And we'll see how exactly it's going to go down, as they're slowly starting to push in, but they've got all the control that they really need here. I'm interested to see where these thermite charges go down, because a lot of the things that you would normally thermite here are already open. And I think that the only choice here for Yuk is going to rotate around to where Cyber isn't open up there. But Hugsdog going to find the first kill of the round. There goes one already. The Dukibi off the board. No smokes and no logic bombs from her, but it's going to be Panico who goes down in the basement. Novice takes him off the board and turns into a 4v4.
So you can see they're starting to put pressure on that southern corridor as well. The thermite charge is going to blow up right next to elevators. They want to push them out of control there. They want to be able to get that entire face of the point, because that is a big point of contention, especially with how much, as you said, has been opened. Ion is going to hold it to the best of his ability. He gets a beautiful wallbang. The team information there was off the charts. Drops Yuka in the diffuser. Picks up the double from Novus. An unfortunate time to rotate and a very fortunate time to push. And Ion is still going. Blackbeard is about to creep around the corner. And there's another for Ion. Drops Cyber. 15 seconds left. Taken down by the lying down Diogo, who then finds GDN with a beautiful pick there from range. But this is pretty much just padding stats now after the heck of a play from Ion.
Really good play from him, but also there was a Valkyrie cam in lobby that entire time, which spotting out everyone who pushed him, and he managed to get those kills. He got a wall bang, he got another kill, and then he saw the Blackbeard was pushing him standing up, so he aimed crouch level. All of that info came from a Valkyrie cam, and there is actually an operator who can find Valkyrie cams very easily. I believe her name is IQ, which we've only seen once this series.
Yeah, though you know Team want to get information. Even just from seeing this first map, you know that they're a team that get information. They feed it to each other and they thrive on it. And we've just seen them use it beautifully. And you got to think, well, maybe we need to start trying to shut that down. We need to start finding a way to ruin their supply line of information.
It's interesting because the last time I think that I saw these teams go against each other, well, no, sorry, not these teams go against each other, but when Immortals played, when they played on Bank, Novice was playing IQ pretty much all the time, but that was back when IQ had nades, and I remember he very famously naded himself in trying to kill a Maestro cam in the lobby.
Well, highlight reel aside, I think maybe that'll be something, maybe there's a little bit of, well, the frag grenades are gone, so the haunting didn't happen again. Yeah,
that could be a big reason why we've not seen too much IQ picks coming out here. When we see round number 2 getting underway, we've seen Maestro cams going down around the lobby area, but we do have plenty to do with it. But talking about frag grenades, we do have a thinker.
Yeah, first thinker we've seen between these guys and between these maps as well. Obviously, it looks like Team 1 are doubling down on the information, doubling down on the holds. They've brought in the Maestro alongside the Valkyrie as well. And again, we're not seeing a Zafir from Immortals. We're not seeing an IQ. See how they try to start picking apart this defense. How Finker is going to play into this.
We'll find out as we are going to be moving in here further into the action phase of round number 2. But we see a lot of very aggressive holding coming out here from Team 1. Immortals really unable to find any frags there, but as I say it, Cyber with a beautiful yeet takes down GDN.
Maestro suffering a bit of damage there just from Novus at the window. Firing through, kind of looking the wrong way. They're putting a lot of pressure directly to the point, and it's gonna make Team 1 have to start thinking about how they can start shutting this down. Obviously, Ion, who had such a brilliant round in the previous one, is playing underneath in open, has plenty of time to rotate, plenty of time to move. Hugsword is getting a little bit aggressive with those peaks, but it sounds like, and it definitely sounds like, that wall towards the point has been blown open from Square Scares.
Yeah, not looking too good at all. And Team 1 are starting to fall a little bit apart here. Finkerbuff is going to go out, but we're not going to see too much action coming out from it. It's like drones are going to come out from Immortals trying to find some more picks, but Panico finds the first pick for Team 1 here. Diogo goes out of it. Has already the Jackal off the board. Not going to matter too much, but that's definitely going to impact late round smokes and plants, as well as that Jackal tracking overall and ability to find those roamers. But it's going to be Yoku pushes all the way up from Square Space, takes down Ion, who gets a bit too aggressive with it. But Panico still playing around to the lobby to try and get some aggression going up here. iBlack's going to rotate through onto front desk to see what he can do here, but Cyber finds the kill onto Panico. Very nicely done here to shut down the lobby aggression. as the execute starts to come out.
Now, Valk is waiting for them to push. It looked like they were about to peek until the spots started going off, so you do wonder when they just should have pointed it out. iBlax is very much ready for this firefight, and whether, I believe it's Finker down there, is or not, I guess we're going to find out. They're suffering a lot of pressure on the point as well. They can't waste too much time with the one rogue operator, especially as Uke pushes in, takes down Hogsword. iBlax has to start pulling back towards point, but they have windows, but no more, I say. iBlax drops Novus. That is the Ash off the windows, but the diffuser is down. Gonna find the Finker, drops Finker, and now it is a 2 versus 1. You can see they're dropping out, getting to better positions, lying down inside. Gonna go for the dropout. Now they have a big run round to go through. That was a very smart move. If you are confident in your retake here, they have plenty of time. You saw Uke was setting up, but Uke is actually rotated to the other side of Banana. Gonna start throwing some flashes to the top of these stairs. iBlax tries to find the fight, but unfortunately falls just a little bit short.
And again, even though they didn't win the round, Team 1 had beautiful intel coming out from the Valkyrie cameras and Maestro cams. It's just absolutely everything that they had on top of killing the Jackal. It was just unfortunate it didn't come through right at the end there for iBlax, but very good attempt coming out from him. A great 3K as well on top of that, but it is not going to be theirs. That CEO defense is definitely one of the hardest ones on bank, especially if you're not running ACOGs. Something that Team 1 definitely didn't have. They didn't play too aggressively, despite the fact they had quite a lot of intel. We'll see round number 3 getting underway, and we will see a locker CCTV room defense, surprisingly for the first time this series.
Yep, they're going to rotate down underneath. Obviously, Blitz is off the board, but a common pick is often Monty. And we've seen Monty used fairly well and fairly effectively, but they're going with the double hard destruction. So how much control they're going to want over those hatches, especially above servers, how they're going to start to push against this locker CCTV. That's the joy of it.
I think a big reason for that is the fact that they think it's probably going to be an upstairs take again, considering that Team 1 are bringing almost the exact same lineup of effects. Actually, no, they are bringing the same lineup they brought for their upstairs take.
Yep.
Considering also that Team 1 haven't really been playing default sites so far.
Yeah, they've generally been, obviously, we talk about how much teams rotate operator choices and how much teams change up as the game goes on, but a big thing about this is seeing what they're bringing and assuming and guessing what points they're going to be holding and defending, and that, again, is one of the many, many layers to this game.
Yeah, let's see how it goes through, as we will see GDN coming with a Maestro. Can't quite find the pick. Interesting that they're bringing the same operators, but not the same people on the same operators.
Yeah, it's a good rotation. Just shows that obviously they have ideas and they have possibilities. And to be fair, obviously we've seen some good uses of the operators. Maestro got a little bit caught out. Did find one counter frag in the hold there before, obviously. But I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. I think Diogo, the Jackal, is pretty good for this point. I think he's still going to be quite comfortable in finding just information and getting this push started for Immortals, who, again, they're so good at getting those pushes started.
Cyber going to quickly make his way through into CEO here, as Novus also makes his way through there. And we see, again, this sort of top-heavy roam clear coming up from Immortals, but I feel like if you're too slow with this, it's going to really go against you. Thermite charges are going to go out onto the hatches, as you see this aggressive hold from Team 1 is really starting to act against them.
Yeah, obviously they are set up just in the little closet by open. GDN is holding by themselves, arguably down on that server side. And we've seen again, it's such a big integral room. Cyber finds the first firefight with a beautiful pick against Ion, who is going again against a Finker boosted LMG, which is a hard thing. Panico is waiting and holding. iBlax gets Uke in the meantime. The spots come out, and there is Panico picking up a panicking Cyber. Goes for the double up the stairs, but unfortunately does not get it. And that is 2 taken off the board, as well as iBlax drops to Novis.
Yeah, Novis with a great kill there. Does start to move through. GDN still holding another site, as Hugzod will rotate back down to it. Mirror window still intact, but the other one does get opened up. So, still looking pretty good for Team 1, though, but this aggressive hold just did not work out for them at all. And now it's a 3v2.
They've got about a minute to play with. There's a lot of time, plenty of time for them to think. They still have hard destruction. They still have a Blackbeard and a Jackal as well to hold the angles. 3 stun grenades. I'm assuming, yep, 2 smoke grenades still on the Jackal as well. There's plenty of utility to start formulating an idea and formulating a push against 2 very strong anchors.
Yeah, could be good indeed. Let's see how it goes through. Let's see, lots of drones are going to be starting coming out here from Team 1. Sorry, from Immortals, who are going to try and start droning out Team 1 and see what they can do here. But there's still so much time left on the board. Even though it's only 30 seconds, we've still got loads of utilities to start executing in that time. They have lots of control. It's really going to be up to Team 1 to deny this push.
Can see Team 1 are getting a little bit looser and looser with it. Mira has pulled back into gold. Just trying to make sure that they don't get caught out by that initial push from the drop down. The diffuser is going down. The C4 gets torn and does not find Hibana. Great movement there to not get caught out. The diffuser is going back down. GDN finds 2. Does not find the 3rd, but by that point it did not matter.
Really nicely played right at the end there from GDN, but from both of them to push him from 2 separate angles. But on top of that, GDN crouch walk up through the hallway, whereas the Mirror let them know that he was there, and that caused everyone to look at him.
Yeah, it was very, very nice play from those 2. And again, we can't harp on enough about just the information game these guys are playing, just how it was being fed. Obviously, you look at it and you say, well, were they on the cameras? And they don't need to be. Their teammates are dead. You have, I believe there was a Maestro cam set up watching that stuff as well, just feeding their push, feeding the intel, feeding the smoke and locations. And it really just shows in how they can comfortably look like they are confident in pushing against a team that is, you know, pretty stacked.
We'll see how it goes through as we see the 4th round getting underway here. Still looking pretty good for Team 1, it seems so far, with some very unusual defenses. That very aggressive bank hold is something that Liquid tried to do during their last showing in OGA. Didn't quite work out for them during that time, but just looking at different strats and looking at more aggressive ways of holding bank can be interesting to see how successful it is, to see what you can do a bit differently here to throw off the other team.
Yeah, well, if you ever want to watch a different game of bank, I mean, do you remember the game we watched yesterday of bank?
Yes, I do remember that game. I mean, that was very the peak of aggression on bank that you can bring it through.
I don't think you could get more aggressive. If anyone out there didn't watch the matchup on bank yesterday, I recommend you go back, because it's hard to explain how that game went down, but it is a joy to watch.
Well, we'll see how the rest of this game goes down, as Novice will make his way quickly in through onto the lobby and sees what's going on here. But just talking about aggression, like, yes, Team 1 are being aggressive, but it's informed aggression. They have my show cams normally, not in this round, but obviously, but they have had them quite a lot recently. They have Valkyrie out there. They've been playing aggressively, confidently, because they have a lot of utility available to them.
Yeah, and the way, as I said, we saw Valkyrie feeding the information to Ion. Ion picked up the 3K, almost got 4 completely turned around. So you can see that they are, even when they look like they're under pressure, again, Ion's playing exactly where they were before. It's never completely over for them. That was the exact place they were playing from before. They've set up a lot of sight lines, a lot of holes, a lot of possibility. It seems like Immortals are throwing a bit more attention to vertical play. As I said, would probably be a good idea before, with Diogo starting to dig down and Cyber as well. Just trying to find the initial pick. Obviously, they have the decay beat to start getting calls. And they're trying to find maybe 1, just 2, just to start this push confidently.
And we'll see how it goes down. Nova's going to be holding down onto the lobby. Lots of drones coming out from the rest of Immortals, however. Nova's making his way in quickly as Dokkaebi calls are going to go out. And the Nitro goes out from GDN. But Novice is going to take him right back on down. Novice actually managed to find his way right into the site. And now Team 1 are going to realize this. Going to have to rotate all the way back and try and find him. Duke goes down to iBlacks, and looks like a good bit of refrag and retaking coming out from Team 1 right now as they panic to get back into the site. But they have all these rotations open for exactly that reason. Blackbeard still has control over the site, though. Diogo going to take down iBlacks, but Ion finally going to find Novice there. It turns into a 2v3, looking very good for Team 1 to retake this, but what a shot from ONE. Takes out the head clean off of Panico. The smokes are going to go out. The execute is going to start to come through, but not looking good for Immortals to try and close this out.
Now, obviously, Diogo and oNe have to find a way to start pushing against Ion. Who's still holding that office hallway and is very much ready for that Jackal to turn the corner. They are still droning. Hugsword is having to rotate under a lot of pressure from oNe on the far side. oNe has the diffuser in 30 seconds. They have a lot of possibility they can do. But again, there's probably those Valkyrie camps still up. Hugsword very low now. You can see Diogo is rotating off. They know that they're being watched by a Valkyrie camera. They're worried about someone coming around behind, as it did suffer to them before. But this is exactly why we've said IQ would be brilliant. It would just take out that fear. They're having to push. Now Ion finds a lot of bullets into oNe. Diogo runs straight into the firefight. And this has turned into a very impossible situation. oNe finds Ion as a counter frag, but it is too little too late.
Too little too late indeed. Team 1 will take round number 4 again, and we'll see how it goes down. And honestly, still very much confusing me that there is oNe on Immortals against Team 1.
Yeah, it's you know, it's the joy of Siege. I think there's a few. Siege is one of those communities where there's a few names across the board that are kind of similar, I found, but it always a lot of them are very fun to shout, so it's always good when they do exciting plays. But the joy of shouting aside, the final defense round, and you can see obviously they are doubling down on that information. Staff room, open area with a Valk and a Maestro.
Yes, definitely. Let's see how it goes down. As you see, the only objective we haven't seen so far, we're going to see a staff room and open area defense from Team 1, which is kind of surprising considering that this isn't really considered to be too good of a defense, but at the same time, what we saw of the setup, not from when they were defending here, but when they were defending towers, when they set up around to open offices, they had a pretty solid hold, obviously.
Yep, and I would say out of all the rounds that we've played, out of all the games that we've played, 3 of these rounds so far have ended on time. And I think that is more than double now across the entire tournament that's happened in these games.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be too surprising at all. This has been a very close matchup. I think the scoreboard really recognizes how close a lot of these rounds have been. I don't know about this mirror. I know I'm very critical of mirrors. I am a mirror main myself.
Yeah,
I play a lot of mirror.
I think you've got a mirror chip on your shoulder with a lot of this stuff.
But, I mean, my main problem with crouching mirrors is normally the players argue that it gives you more vision. Right? If you have a crouching mirror, you normally tend to be able to see more or see around more corners. But having a crouching mirror on a reinforced wall normally means that you're going to be slower to peek from it. So, I mean, you're sacrificing mobility for intel. You tend to play in competitive, you play for utility more than anything. And so you could argue that having more vision gives you more utility, but does it really?
I guess this, these guys are the ones that are weighing up those decisions and weighing up those choices. And they're the ones that have to live with the consequences, but you can see they're starting to close down. It's a very quick push here from Immortals. We've seen them drop a couple of Valk camps as well, which is exactly what they need to do. We even saw it. You saw the dancing outlines in the previous round. Struggling to get the push, but Ion finds the first frag against Cyber. Takes a fair chunk of damage, but at the same time, oNe looks like they've got involved in a trade with iBlack's. Beautiful pick there from iBlack's against oNe, and that is the soft destruction, the heavy soft destruction off the board. They still obviously have the shotgun and one of the hard destructions. So in a lot of lineups, that would be the end of the world, but they do still have Thermite on the board. They do still have Diogo's shotgun, so they still have the open possibilities. And at the same time, Hugsword has taken a fair chunk of damage, Ion has taken a fair chunk of damage, and iBlack's as well.
Yeah, Novus is going to rotate up onto the square stairs, does manage to try and recover the diffuser here, and he will do so successfully, and tries to rotate on back. Drones are going to come out here from Immortals to try and recover the situation just a little bit, and they have managed to do so quite a lot, but there's still a huge amount of roam presence from Team 1 here, something they haven't really been able to press on, and I'm kind of surprised they haven't been able to do so, because they have a Jackal.
Do they have the Jackal? But at the same time, iBlack's has Novus's head between the crosshairs, drops it, and the diffuser goes down as well. Yuka's slowly pushing through. Diogo seems stuck in lobby, but iBlack's unsticks him. Bullets to the head, and now this has become a very, very hard point for Yuka to be in. And again, he just looked lost, assuming he's being spotted, and it was a very easy pick pick for a team that is using communication and cameras and choreography beautifully.
Oh, beautiful from Yuk. Finally finds Iblex, who's playing with fire there just a little bit. Just tried to quick peek it, but finally Yuk finds him with a pre-fire. It's 20 seconds left to go on the clock, but not looking good. He's in a 1v4, trying to just bait out any sort of peek that he can. Does find one, and finds Ion successfully. That's another exit frag for him, but it looks like it's just going to remain as an exit frag. Finds two of them, but I don't think there's any way you can clutch this right now. That Maestro cam being hidden there does manage to take it down an elevator hole, but there we go. The timer runs out, and Immortals can't find it at all. Team 1 take round number 5.
That was 4 rounds, 4 defensive wins, and 4 rounds that ended on timeout. And the other one was a plant. And if you were to say a statistical anomaly for how these rounds have been ending across the entire LATAM region, there it is.
Yeah, they have been playing fairly aggressively, so you don't normally see teams lose by time, especially in this region. So we'll see how it goes down as we swap over the sides now. We're going to see Immortals on the defense this time, and I think they're going to go for a much more sort of default defense strategy.
Yeah, obviously they're bringing the Vigil potentially for the first time. They have the Maestro for a team where they were suffering under the weight of Valkyrie's Black Eyes. They're not going to bring it. They're not going to roll with that dice. They're not going to trade for that information. At the same time, this is the first time we're seeing Zofia on the board as well.
Yeah, which I've mentioned a couple of times as well, that there was Castle being brought. There was so much being brought from Team 1 that could have easily been pushed against from Zofia. And maybe that's a reason why they were losing by time so much. Because they didn't actually have the push that they needed to get into the site. Maybe Zofia's going to add that in. Normally you do see it. And as I said, sort of Zofia, kind of like the better Ashe, brings a lot more utility to the table.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, since Zofia was introduced, the argument became, well, why would you bring Ashe instead of... And normally it's to do with fragging. It's to do with entry fragging. Because you see certain players playing Ashe, and they play out of their minds, and they pick up these frags, and you're just like, okay. However, those are certain players. Those are certain people in the world that are very good in that role. That's an unfortunate incident there as Novice tries to take care of a drone that refuses to die. But, oh well, sometimes again, this stuff happens, the joy of Siege. But you can see, again, we talk about the aggression. Cyber is looking for a frag.
Yeah, well, you know, Novice can't. You can't win all those fights against drones, unfortunately. And he's going to rotate those questions.
The joy of Vigil versus drones.
We'll see how it goes down. As Novi's going to get picked up immediately by Ion. Beautiful pick there. Coming out from Team 1 as Ion will rotate up into the square stairs to see what he can do. Team 1 looking very, very good so far with that great entry fragging ability.
Yeah, that's a big pick off the board as well. Vigil, an exceptional roamer, and Novus, an exceptional player. So to kind of take them out, maybe it was the drone that you saw that put him off a little bit, threw him off his game, put him out of his headspace. But hey-ho, you can see they are generally stacking up on that southern main stairway. The bullets are flying through the wall. Maybe they didn't know how close they were, but they are starting to close down from the top as well. The drone timing, but the C4 catches it. Almost looked like it went the wrong way. That was a very nice move there as Cyber finds Hugzord and swaps the balance of operators left alive.
That's a 4v3 now as Iblex moves all the way down. Does manage to successfully refrag onto 1, but not before 1 managed to get that incredible Nitro. We're still seeing a fairly aggressive hold, however, coming out from Immortals. And in the past, when we've seen them play aggressive, they've normally ended up losing quite a lot of rounds. And let's see how it works out for them here. But overall, looking fairly good for Team 1 to try and secure this a little bit. I'm not sure why Cyber decides to rotate out like that, but he will do so, and he will be quickly found by GDN. Team 1 still have about a minute left on the clock here to try and do something with a push, and they still have a lot of utility on the board as well, so still looking pretty good for them. Drones are going to start coming out. They still have Diffuser in hand and still have plenty time to rotate. In fact, Thermite still has both of his exothermic charges.
Yeah, a lot of skeleton keys, a frag grenade, 2 of the X-Kairos, and all of the flashes. They are stacked and stocked to the 9s, and you can see the Texan Dynamite is going down against servers. The Maestro managing to take care of the Hibana, but that's a good distraction. Smoke's going to slow them down. 40 seconds on the clock. Still 2 remote gas grenades left. Drops the drone that we know Team 1 focuses on. Looks like they want to body block the Maestro camp, but there goes the hatch. They're getting more and more control from admin. The flashes are throwing down. Not quite sure what hit them there, but Yuke is going to have to start pushing towards it as the diffuser is down.
Some little bit missed smokes coming out there. It looks like GDM won't take even a fraction of damage there. Obviously going to be holding down onto the rotates as Diego finds his way through. But he's got to be very aware that someone is going to be holding onto that. He doesn't have any remote gas grenades to try and make his way through. Here's the Maestro moves all the way through. Yuke goes down. GDN takes him out of it. And GDN with his second kill finds Diogo. Team 1 put themselves on map and match point.
Map and match point on a 5-1. Now they are looking like they know this map. They're familiar. That attack was precise. Obviously, they got a very quick pick against the Vigil as well. And getting that opening frag really just sets up your momentum for the rest of the round. And having that 5-4 kind of push at the beginning, it just gives you a lot of fire. It gives you a lot of fire, gives you a lot of fuel, and we are seeing these guys utilize it. Obviously, you look at the kind of spread of frags. iBlacks and Ion are really flying high right now.
We'll see if they can spread it around and see exactly how it's going to go down. Immortals have to find 4 rounds in a row. But we've seen Bank be fairly defend-decided in the past. Will it be so right now, or are Immortals starting to lose their grip?
I think it's going to come down to how Novus starts to play. It looked like, obviously, they were generally set up not directly on point. They had a few in the southern stairs, able to rotate or move around in the main staircase even. But obviously, losing that Vigil is quite big. Now, they swapped the Vigil over to the Cav. Buck for buck, 6th pick. Obviously, a big tactical choice there. But what can Cav bring that Vigil couldn't? Because arguably, Vigil didn't really get a proper run out. And we know that they like to use drones, and buying time against Team 1 is a way that really stops them. And it's a way that we've seen Immortals do very well before. So
I'm really surprised that Immortals even playing a dedicated roamer at this point, considering that they never tend to do very well when they have roamers on the board. But Bank is definitely one of those maps where you can play roamers effectively, especially on a CEO defense as well, because you can play one down in the vault. There's not really any hatches or anything like that that you can get down directly into the vault. So it's a fairly easy place for a roamer to just hold down the fort.
And it also, again, just the size of this map. If you're eating time downstairs, if you're eating the time in the vault and keeping them scared, obviously, having those drop downs open and those rotations, it adds so much to just the defender's chances, the defender's hopes. If you can buy that time, if you can play the time, if you can bait them down into the garage, bait them down into the basement, and bring them to your level, you don't even have to survive. You don't really have to get too many picks. Just take time away from Team 1, and you'll find yourself in a much better situation.
Yeah, we will see how it goes down exactly, as Cyber going to be trying to open up a little bit of windows here so that they can hear when anyone tries to repel on there. And of course, having an ACOG, I mentioned this multiple times with CSEO defense, is normally pretty essential if you want to play it a little bit more aggressively. As we see, Ions will be starting to come through here to see if we can maybe open up some of these castle barricades as well onto Banana.
See you on the other side.
Very nice angles. Panico is starting to blow open the reinforced wall across the corridor, the upstairs corridor there, trying to get a bit more sightlines, a bit more control. Again, you see Team 1 are starting to push behind Hugzord's drone. That's still Cyber, though. Cyber, you can see just hanging around, waiting for the word to push, and could take them by surprise, but no, GDN finds the frag instead.
Cyber with a very aggressive push there, it would seem, as Hibana charges will manage to destroy the mirror window. It's not looking too good for Immortals as they start to fall apart a little bit, but don't forget, we still got Novi's on the board here, as the rotates come through from Ion onto Banana, and Panico still holding down the flank to see exactly how that's going to go through. But there's a lot of aggression starting to come through from Team 1 now. They have managed to gain control of a lot. Ion takes down Diogo, who doesn't even realize someone's pushed up. But ONE will manage to trade it back instantly with a Nitro. Looking pretty good for Team 1 to try and lock this out now, but it's still a 4v3. There's still a lot of potential for Immortals to bring this in. Panico still holding down this rotate. See how it comes through. The Cav will start to push up to try and do something here. He's got the shotgun, he's got the bell, but GDN knows he's there. Yuk takes down Panico. They're gonna have to start missing up. Oh, the shotgun! Beautiful from Novice. He tries to bring it all in, takes down Hugzord, but iBlack trades him out. It's all down to him in a 1v2, but he can't find anyone. One takes him down. Immortals take round number 7.
Now, I did say Novus on that cav is what's going to be influential in the round, and obviously just the unexpected aggression there from the end, rotated back in, away from all the other rotations as well, played that collapse perfectly, I would say. And having that shotgun that close range and that many people that close together, you couldn't ask for a better Caviera Christmas.
No, you definitely can't. Let's see how it goes through. As we see, still map and match point. Immortals just win 3 more rounds. Go ahead.
It's just there. It's just there in front of you. Look at CCTV. We go down to, obviously, they've gone for a fairly similar loadout. The attackers, they're the defenders. Again, they're playing fairly similar. It looks like they're not really having someone so obviously dedicated to the roam. But again, we've seen these guys roam Smoke. We've seen them roam Lesion. Cyber is 6-picking Jaeger off to Doc. So that'll be interesting how that translates. And at the same time, Buck has changed out to Ash.
A big part of that as well is there was, again, a Valkyrie camera in the lobby, which spotted out everyone in the attack who was pushing up Banana as well. And there's no IQ, again, from the attack. And I can't help but feel we're seeing the same mistakes on each team.
Yeah, I think it's suffering less for Team 1 than it was Immortals, but Immortals generally play Valkyrie less. However, saying they play Valk less and then seeing how effective she can be for a team that doesn't play her much so far, it just shows the importance of being able to counter that. It shows the importance of paying attention to that and finding ways to shut that down, because it can make or break you.
That is a very good point indeed. It can make or break you. We've seen comebacks come through this way, and Team 1 are really going to have to step it up here if they want to bring in this match point. We'll see how it goes down, but it is going to be an uphill battle for Immortals to bring this in, but there's definitely hope for them. They're going to go back down to that downstairs, and I'm not sure, like, this wasn't a great defense for them last time.
No, they lost a lot of people upstairs very quickly. They lost a lot on fighting, and when it came down to the actual push, as we said, there was still heaps of utility left in the hands of the attackers. So it became a fairly easy push at the end of it against the Maestro.
Yeah, and that goes back to my original point as well about when Immortals play aggressively, we don't really see them take many rounds on the board.
No, that's the thing. They threw a lot of people upstairs. Obviously, Novus looked kind of unlucky to get it caught out where they were. Definitely where they didn't want to hold it, but at the same time, it wasn't good to lose 3 people that far away from point and within the first minute and a half as well. You can see they've learned from that though. Novus is now playing much closer to point, and you can see Ion is worried about potentially finding the same kind of aggression. However, it looks like iBlax is going to be the first to actually bump against an opponent on the far side stairs.
We'll see how it goes in as Team 1 take over. Nice bit of control here, but I'm glad that Immortals have started to play a little bit more conservatively now. They're not playing aggressively. They've recognized they can't do so against a team like Team 1 here on Bank. So we'll see exactly how it's going to work out for them. But a lot of this from Team 1 is going to be about how much utility can they bait out here, because you've got 3 remote gas grenades and 1 nitro to deal with in terms of plant denial. There's no echo, of course, because that was banned by Team 1. So there's a lot back and forth here to try and bait out nitros, bait out the remote gas grenades in order to successfully go for a plant.
Now they're hard rotating upstairs. Hibana almost caught one of them, almost caught Mira as well. Does peek and find one, but did not see someone slip all the way upstairs, and that could come back to bite them, as it is Novus, who is rotated to the other side and is sneaking down square stairs. Will have that drop down open as well to get a really nice sightline, and this is a beautiful play and movement from Immortals, who threw everything downstairs and just found a perfect window to get out of there. Jackal might have been tracking it, but Novus is starting to find kills. Drops iBlax, brings it to a 4 versus 4, and there is another one! Perfectly pushing from behind in servers, being tracked. Panico finds Cyber, and Yuke finds Panico in a trade, but again, Beautiful play from Novus. Finally shut down by Hugsword, and they're starting to close down, but there is only 14 seconds left.
Yoka's going to get very lit up indeed, and it looks like Ion's just going to have to drop down this hatch if he wants to try and bring it in. Hugsword just going to use the smoke to twist all the way in, goes for the plant. There's not really a lot of plant denial left at all. Impacts are going to go out in a desperate attempt, and the smoke rotates all the way in, but no, Ion can't find him! Diogo is going to take down Hugsword, but not before the diffuser does actually successfully go down. All down to Ion to deny it. He takes down Yuk with a headshot. It's all down to the smoke to try and deny this push. But he has a 1v1. He can't do this on his own. He's eventually going to start doing it. Ion's Zofia charge is going to bring him out of that animation. Diogo attempting to go for yet another defuse. And Ion can just do this all day. He's going to sit there, go for the pre-fight. He's going to realize he's with a white peak, and he does it! Ion takes down Diogo, and Team 1 take the series 2-0.
Well, again, that was beautiful play from Immortals, and that was a very unfortunate. Obviously, the scoreline ends 6-2. And there are some games where that reflects how it went, and there are some games where it doesn't. And I definitely think that was much more back and forth than the scoreline suggests.
Definitely, it was a very back and forth game, but Team 1 proved to be superior in the end. Pretty good play coming out from them, and definitely from iBlocks. Novus had a great attempt there at the end to try and bring it in, but Ion shut him right on down. Looking pretty good there for Team 1. We're going to take about a 10-minute break here before we move through into the next matchup. But before we do that, I'm just going to give you guys a quick reminder about the giveaway that we have going on. If you head to rainbow6pit.com/giveaway, we can give away all these goodie prizes for you. Just find ways to sign up there and enter your chance to win one of these many prizes.
Yeah, there's not much else to say. Good luck. You could be sitting on a fancy new chair like we are, listening to fancy new games. But 10-minute break first, and then we get into Pain versus Liquid.